Good evening, everyone. This is 100 Days of Code, and we're actually on day 62. 7 more days until we have a really nice episode. But up until then, I cannot help but introduce a very special man to every one of you. And this man's name is Leon Andersen. And my usual question is, how are you doing?
Hello, hello, world. Hello, good evening. And I am doing okay. Had a annoying day at work, and yeah, but looking forward to the call. And yeah, basically, it was fun today to um, go through the section that I went through, which was about authorization. Oh, and now I lost a window. Where is that window? Just getting used to Mac.
If
Where is the window? Here's the window. Okay, so yeah, authorization. And I'm wondering why the heck this is not. Doesn't seem to be the right window. No, okay, now it loaded. All right, so yeah, it was nice to watch the videos because it's feeling more and more like basically like oh, I think this might be too much of the code. This might be a too advanced version of the code. It's weird because we didn't do any.
the authorization should be in here too, though, right? So let's just go to the part where the
Yeah,
authorization happens when you get to that.
yeah. That's as a finding game. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to notice that I'm getting more and more used to JavaScript and all the stuff. Like everything seems way more natural to read now. And I'm pretty sure there are way deeper levels of feeling of having it feel natural, but yeah, it's the feeling of JavaScript as a language is growing, or yeah, basically the getting used to it part.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so the difference between authentication and authorization is, as I already said, the difference between just being logged in and also having certain rights to, for example, edit campgrounds, to delete campgrounds, and all the stuff. And yeah, we made sure in this section that we hide the delete and edit buttons and also the edit page as a whole. If you are not the user who created the campground that we're looking at, and also to prevent postman attacks or basically bad actors or anyone editing through Postman who's not authorized. We built something for that as well. I will go through both. And we also put that stuff in middleware. So I don't know if we can see if the code that is not in the middleware that we had before is visible in this piece of code. Probably not, but I'll just explain it on the middleware. So yeah, we have the is author and is review author middleware basically. And what you can see is that we first have to make sure that we are working with the correct ID of the URL, and to check yeah, to check if we're actually working with the valid campground, or let's say we need a valid ID to be able to check if the author, as you can see in line 29, equals the ID of the user of the request. And yeah, basically that's the main point of it all in line 29. And he's also using the negated version as well, with an exclamation mark and not the positive version, as we can see. As we talked about yesterday, it's way easier to read if you write stuff in the positive and not in the negative. So the version would be if, like the positive version would be if campground.author equals request.user.id. Then we would go to next, else requests flash error and redirect. So why would there be a return after next?
But we don't need to do else afterwards, because if we don't have a return, right, it still goes in here. But using the return, it's not going to go into this part of the code. So we can technically even put the return here. And that's just a code comment that a lot of people find to be cleaner than using else's, because then all of this code will be indented again like this because of the new scope and stuff. So usually people prefer an early return, is what this is called, over an else.
Makes a lot of sense, yeah. And so it goes both before the next and after the next?
Yeah, here next is still called, right? But since next is returning nothing and the return type from this function is never used, it doesn't matter if we put the return before the next or after the next. It has the same result. Both will make this inner handle return undefined, or this implementation return undefined. The is also function will return undefined, because the next function's return type is undefined, and just returning nothing is also just returning undefined. And because the return value of this author is never used, or we can just safely return from this function.
Got it. What is so we have return value, but do we also have next value?
What do you mean with next value?
Yeah, because the next serves like, is there something specific that is parsed through or passed through with the next function, or is this only triggering the next mechanism in the code?
It's only triggering the next middleware, similar to how we looked at it a few days or maybe even weeks ago, right? And usually the thing that you pass into next is the error that is available if you have a four argument middleware.
And would there be anything else besides an error that makes sense to pass through?
Not that I know of, at least not in Express. I think in Express, the value that you pass into next is explicitly to pass errors to the next middleware. I mean, technically speaking, no one checks whether what you pass through is an error. So you could argue that whatever you pass into next is the first argument if you use a 4-argument middleware. So you could also pass through maybe strings, but I've never seen that in practice.
Could I pass through the IDs that we checked before, so we can use it then in the function?
Yeah, but again, I've never seen it done right, and usually when people start to break conventions, that makes the code more confusing. even though it might be more elegant.
Okay.
Well, in order to keep stuff understandable, generally we want to try and stick with the herd mentality so that other people have it easy to read your code. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So that was the is author thing, and we our middleware, and we basically just write is author into every route handler that we want it on. So that would be, for example, the put, the delete request, and the edit. And
I think this is also the first time that you've seen this method chaining, right? Or have you done that before?
this is not what we like. This is way too advanced inside of the project. He probably linked the wrong code.
Got it.
So, but yeah, it's still logical. It still makes sense that this is that we're using author on put, delete, and edit. So at least that I can say with big confidence. So yeah, and then we have the is review author as well in the middleware. Of course, we have to require those, and but and also we could the review author, basically same stuff, but only if the review author equals the request user. By the way, we can go and check the author model or schema. No matching thing. Where is it then? Yeah, basically it's inside. It's a key of the object that we added, which contains another object, which basically that's good that we look at that, because I guess I'm understanding it, but I have a clarification question. So schema.types.object_id, this is basically the path where we derive the ID from, and the ref user, does that refer to the user schema, or?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And this ref value has to match to the name of the model. So if we go into the user.js model, you will see that we call it here user. If you were to call this human, then we would have to put in human here too. So that mongoose under the hood knows which schema you are referring to.
Got it. And basically we did the same in the campground schema. If you go there, we can see in line 24, no, a bit deeper, I guess, somewhere line 36, we see the same thing, also referring to user. And so what we also have to make sure that this author ID gets saved into this object. So this, in order to ensure this, we can go into the route handler or request handler for the new campground and new review. We should have them in the route somewhere. Can you show the folder structure?
Of course, quick shout out to Happy Pole. He says, I'm looking for someone to help me with JavaScript, and of course we can help you. Put your questions in the comments and we're going to help you. Okay. Let's go into which folder did you want to go to? Into the models one?
Yeah, basically, if you show the folder structure, I can test my knowledge where we build that stuff. Should be inside of. Isn't there a router somewhere, a router file somewhere. Routes, yeah, routes, and then campgrounds. And then where do we have it? The new /new campgrounds.render new form. Where do we find that? That's okay. Campgrounds.new. Oh yeah. Wait. Where is the? So this links to the EJS file, which is new EJS, as far as I guess. Right? Or
campground/new EJS, yeah, campgrounds new, this one, yeah.
exactly. And somewhere we have built something inside that when we send that request, that post request, we also send the user ID. But I'm wondering if that's in the EJS file or in the request handler.
So it needs to be in the post route here. And what we're doing here, upload array, catch async, create campgrounds. It's probably in here.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's in create campground. That's what I was looking for.
It's here we're grabbing the user ID from the
Exactly.
request.
Campground.author. So basically we save the user ID of the request into the campground.author. And we have to do that basically on the create review as well. I don't know where that's in, probably in reviews.js. Yes. So in line 7, yes. Yeah, so that's basically the full circle of what we did in the project. Let me check if there's anything more. Yeah, basically just the flash messages in case we don't have the authorization, and that's it for what we did today.
Awesome. Like, it's really, really exciting because you mentioned how your understanding of JavaScript grows, and this app that you've seen here is pretty close to something that you would actually see used in the real world. Obviously the code base is 3 years ago, right? And there are some trade-offs here and there, but in general, the stuff that you would see in the real world doesn't look much different. And to me, it's just so exciting that 2 months ago, you didn't know any JavaScript, and now you would pretty much be able to at least jump into an Express code base and slowly find your way around. Yeah, I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more fun. Like, I mean, it was fun from the start, but there were some rough or tough patches in between. And I mean, there will probably be more of those, but there's a big foundation now. I'm feeling like there's JavaScript seems more and more natural.
But so also
finding my way through it.
So, Mr. Happy Polls, I don't know if you're still watching, but you left the comments you need someone who can help you with JavaScript. So you can either put in your question now before we end the stream, or you can DM me on Twitter, and I'm happy to help you. So yeah, let's just wait one more minute in case Happy Paul has a specific question. Although if I think we're a good stream today. So let me ask in the meantime, Mr. Leon Andersen, what is your plan for the weekend? Are you going to code a little bit more in terms of coding, obviously, not in terms of anything regarding your private life, right? What's your coding plan for the weekend?
Yeah, so tomorrow I do the section on controllers, which I have no idea what that is yet. Probably, no, I have no idea what a controller is. And we're that part of the course is also about star ratings. I'm going through that tomorrow, which is a very short section, only 35 minutes, but I have family coming over tomorrow, and this because of that I'll only have 35 minutes. I mean, the section afterwards is 1.5 hours long, which is a bit longer of a section. So I feel like this is perfect for Sunday, and also I guess I can do 2 to 3 sections there. By the way, we're talking about the Web Developer Bootcamp by Code Steel.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess tomorrow I'll do a combination of the short section here, 35 minutes, and also type training, because I didn't do that today yet. I crank out some of that today as well after the call, but yeah, that's my plan. Probably I can definitely commit myself to 3 sections over the weekend. Maybe it will be 4.
That sounds exciting. And by the way, we already, I think it was yesterday or the day before, looked a little bit into what controllers will be, because you will notice that you're just going to be moving tons of files around, and then controllers is just the pattern where you have a function and you just put that function, you basically break out the function from the route definition. You know, the day where we talked about like the different verbs that you can use, hooking up, setting up, configuring, all of
Yes.
those mounting. And a controller, as you can see here, is just that we broke out the logic of the handler and we call those controllers and just group them together in a file. It's just a way to arrange your code, but I'm sure code will go into much more detail, but pretty much the basics of controllers you already know.
Yeah. Let me scroll really fast through my questions that I noted. I thought I have them. Oh yeah. I think this should. This file could be. Yeah. Why, for example, don't we have to await request.user.id? Why?
That's not a promise. So request.user.id is an object that we put on the user, and we can even look at where we do that. Because something we would probably saying something like this. So we request.user equals to it's where might we do it? Probably in the middleware. So let's look at the middleware. Let's see if we have the user here somewhere is logged in. It's not here. Okay. But this is me looking live for the piece of code. So request.user.handles middleware is just checking. This is all just checking. Maybe in the login file. So where do we do the authorization? I think in app.js maybe. That's also not where we handle the login, it looks like. Maybe we can look
Are
for
you looking
login.
for the is logged in middleware or?
No. We're looking for where we are actually logging in. Authenticate, maybe here. I think Passport is the one that does it. Yeah, so I think there's no code for it, because Passport is basically handling for you to put a user onto the request, and this user object has an underscore ID value, but you can just look into if the request is authenticated.
Yeah, so my question is, like, as far as I understand, we need to await if we fetch data from somewhere and wait. So we have to wait until we have it. So there are no.
No, you have to await when you read from the database, for example. So that was, I know I explained it to you, like, hey, we need to await when we fetch data from somewhere. But maybe should have clarified from like an external source, right? Everything that's in the JavaScript memory, everything that's already in the program, we don't need to await. And the request is already in your handler, and through the Passport middleware, already a user is assigned to the request object. So you can just what's the English word? You can just access it. Access is a good word. You can just access it, and there's no need to await anything because this is not a promise. This is just a regular value.
Okay, so we can always access the request body immediately.
Request body is something different. The request
Isn't
body.
that safe in the request body? Requested user.
No. Request
Okay.
body, you can even see different properties, right? Request.body. Otherwise, this would be request.body.user.
Got it. But what if the user is not what if the user is on a different PC somewhere? Like, isn't that isn't that also a long path from which we have to fetch, or?
We're not accessing their computer. So the way it happens is the user does a request to your server, right? And your server, you configured your server to use Passport. And before that, you did it manually with all the stuff that you looked at with like sessions and cookies. And the request that your user sent to your server has cookies attached to it. So your Passport middleware is looking at the request from your user and checking out all the cookies. And if there is a cookie for the authentication for the user, your Passport middleware is putting the user object for you onto the request. So now for all of the controllers, in this case, all of the handlers, basically, they automatically have access to that request.user because the middleware read that value from the cookies and put it on the request for you.
So basically, if a user does a request, he pushes all the data that we need to us, and we can access it immediately.
Exactly, and that was because of the stuff that we talked about a few days ago. All cookies are always sent with every request. And because the user already has those cookies in his browser, right, because he logged in at some point, we can take those cookies and make sure that they're authenticated.
Got it. Yeah, okay. So review.save, yeah, that makes sense. This because it saves to the database. Campground.save, yeah, both. That makes sense where we have to await them. Campground find by ID and update. Yeah, we're also accessing our database. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that was my clarification question that I had.
Awesome.
And yeah, that was interesting. I like it.
More than we are done here. So, Mr. Happy Ports, you didn't write anymore, but if you have any questions, just join the stream anytime or message us on Twitter, just 10xdev on Twitter, very easy to find, or X as it's now called, just message 10xdev on X. Everyone else, if you're watching the recording, come to us live. It's always fun. You can ask your questions live. And if you're watching live, thank you for watching, because this has been day 62 of 100 days of code together with
Leon Andersen and my mentor,
Aleph Mill from 10xdev. No upside down saying today. No spin. Got it right this time. Yeah, always be mounting, always be coding. Thank you.
Until tomorrow, party people.
Bye.